We're live.
How do we tell if people are here, or is that just something you can see?
We've got one.
Ooh, there's a person here. Hi, person.
How's everyone doing? This is Gray Squadron Gaming's first live stream.
This is a test. This is only a test.
More of a test than anything, but we're going to try to talk about some rule updates, chat with you guys.
Should I open it in YouTube to look at it and see if I can see stuff?
Yeah, I got the chat up on there. We got Bob, we got Paul, we got Curly1 in the chat so far.
Yeah, so many people.
Hey, guys. Said this is more of a test for us to see if we can keep doing this. Kenneth, hey, Kenneth, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. We're gonna try to talk through some of the big 1.5 changes. I'm, as you can tell, in a hotel room at the moment on a work trip, so this is the best way I thought to converse with you guys, was through something like this. And this is the first time we went live, especially on not great hotel internet connection. So we'll see how this goes. But feel free to use the chat, talk with us. Otherwise, I thought
right now only you can see it, Joe. So I cannot see.
I can't see it.
Chat.
You can't see it.
I am trying to see how I see it.
We've got Rocket. We've got David. Hey, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. First time going live for Gray Squadron, so bear with us.
16
but yeah,
people.
let's jump into it. Is there a particular rule change you guys want to start with, or would you prefer us just kind of going over, is there such thing as great hotel internet connection? No, it's off. There's no great internet connection. There's really not. I paid for the premium internet connection. It's supposed to be 100 megs. It's maybe getting 30, maybe 20 if I'm lucky. So we'll see how long it lasts. Perfect. Okay, so let's chat about some rules. So
I guess I should stop painting and look at the computer. But now I have to look over there to see the comments. This is just crazy.
It's wild. Yeah, it's climbing. Climbing seems the big request. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about climbing. So the new rule for climbing is a trooper unit or a vehicle, anyone. If the building is size 1 or less, it has to be over the size of your mini. Height 1, yep. You can now do a speed 1 maneuver to get up to the building. So there is no more clambering. You don't have to worry about spending one action to risk damage or spending both actions to move up. You now just move up. You essentially almost have, almost. You kind of have a jump 1 built in, right? Is what it turns into for the aspect of going up the building. Jump has some other
speed
actions.
1.
I think some people, jump it is speed 1. They're missing out. Like jump, you can move over impassable if your maneuver template goes over completely. You can go over vehicles if your maneuver template. This you can't. This is just a climb action, right?
Right.
So this is really nice. And you're going to see on Sunday, we have a new video. We did the new rules. We do the new climb a few times in that video. So you'll be able to see it in action here soon. But I think overall for the game, it's really nice. And Don and I have this great Tatooine map, which I'm sure you guys have seen us play on. That map becomes more viable. Instead of always having to bring like Mandalorians or scale, we can now play that map with like any unit because they can move up to, I think it's every building but 3 or size or height 1, so that makes it really easy.
Yeah. It is funny because I think scale got the biggest nerf out of all of this because you have to slow your speed. So it lost a little bit of that speed that scale has, which I played boss tonight against Bob at the store, and I realized they changed boss from expert climber to scale, and now I wish he had expert climber because then I could have gone speed 2 off the building that I was on instead of speed 1. So it's a little funny, but it's still really good. And it makes the game flow a lot nicer around height 1 buildings that you could just climb up it. Like it's not, and like you don't have to be in base contact with the building to climb it. You can just do a speed 1 move and end that move on the building. You just have to make sure that if you're a small base miniature, you're fully on the building. You can't overhang at all unless you're a vehicle. So those ion spiders climbing up top buildings, they can hang off.
Yeah, notched bases like ion spiders, to give an example, can hang off. Troopers cannot. Troopers just make a speed 1 up. There's no clamber anymore at all, David. That's gone. It's just a climb action now, which requires 1 action to climb up. Explain the nerf to scale. Well, Don kind of just said it. Before, if you were in base contact with a building, you can move up it and then do your speed action, or you could end your movement into a building and then move up it. So
Yeah.
you had to be in the contact was the big thing with scale, but you can move up and then do your full speed. This one is it's a speed 1. So scale can go up to height 2, which is the pro for it, the perk, if you will, compared to just a climb. They can go up to height 2, but it still reduces your speed, which is the nerf people are talking about.
Right.
Yeah. That's there's other interactions with it, like you have expert climber also got to change as well. So things like that interact with the climbing mechanic a little differently than it used to.
Yeah. Yeah, so expert climber, that is right. It doesn't increase your speed, it just increases your height. So you can go up to height 2, not speed 2.
Correct.
So I guess it's not as big a nerf as I thought, but I still miss the speed of scale sometimes.
Yes, it was nice to move up there. So other than that, every other unit in the game that didn't have scale or jump got a buff with building. So that's nice.
That's true. Environmental gear and grappling hooks, yeah.
Yeah. C7X says scale is just expert climber with unhindered. It 100% is, right? I mean, you can still move the difficult terrain. That's the other part they kept with scale without reducing your speed. And scale is just now expert climber essentially with unhindered, kind of mixed.
Yeah.
It gives you environmental gear and grappling hooks. Yeah, no, it does. You're right on.
Yeah. Yeah. Kenneth, yeah, the changes to suppression are interesting. In the game we played for the channel, it didn't make a whole lot of difference.
When you bring Dooku and you bring Obi as your commanders, and you have a panic.
Yeah, we had the big courage bubbles. In the game I played against Bob tonight, one of his B1 units panicked because he was too far away from the commander with his 2 suppression. So he just lost his activation and removed 1 suppression, which is nice. That you just automatically get to remove that one, even if you didn't roll any off.
Yeah. I get some of the community backlash a little bit about that. There's not a runaway panic anymore, but at the same time, I think it's a nicer game experience not to have a unit panic off the board because you had an unfortunate rally roll. It's still not a good thing to panic. You lose your whole turn. You potentially don't count for scoring. You drop an objective, etc., depending on when it happens.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a real perk.
Yeah. Me and Bob played the payload tonight. And we did that suppression thing could have been an issue, but payload is the only objective now that being panicked or suppressed doesn't affect your control over the payload cart, which is interesting because it affects everything else, but the payload cart still moves as long as you have a unit leader there to move it. So that's interesting.
Interesting. We got Curly One says suppression builds are a lot worse. No, I don't think so. I think if you're building a suppressive list, I think they're much better personally.
They're very effective
panic someone off a board edge, but you can stop them from counting an objective. You can have them drop their objective. You're
still removing their activation as well. And then initially, when I read the rules of how you remove their suppression tokens up to their courage value, I thought it was still like removing it from double their courage. It's not. You're just removing 1 or 2 suppression. So in a suppressive list, if you're dropping 6 or 7 suppression on someone, they're going to panic for a couple turns, and they're going to be panicked the whole time. So it can still be very effective.
Yeah, no, it definitely can. I mean, I think you're going to see a lot more use of those Courage 3 units, which I know this will segue into another topic about Deflect. Deflect was a real hot topic in some of the forums. I'll get into why that's a hot topic, but your Courage 3 people, which in your Republic are your Jedis, which is in your Rebels, besides Jin, is your Luke, and other factions have much more. I think those 3 Courage
if you're people, Empire, you're fine.
Yeah, if you're Empire. I mean, if you're 3 Courage, you're great. If you're Commander Vader, you're top.
Yeah. Commander Vader, I think, gained some out of this because that huge Courage panic bubble was really fantastic. Right.
It's great. It's huge. So deflect now, when someone spends a dodge to gain surge to block and possibly do damage back, is only in range now. They took deflect away from melee. So if me and Don, Luke, and let's say Luke and Maul are in lightsaber duel engage, when we spend a dodge on defense, that just removes a dice. We don't activate Surge to block anymore.
Yes.
That's the big thing we're hearing for that. But
oddly enough, it didn't really come up in our game. Like, there was situations where I spent dodges in melee. Yeah, but I never rolled a surge in that instant, so it never actually hurt me.
Funny enough, for you Republic lovers, I know a lot of people cry Republic is broken. I don't think they are. I think they're in a good spot right now. Not the best spot they've been in, but a good spot. Yeah, Obi-Wan, Anakin, they don't have Deflect. They have Demso and Soldier Master, so they still, when they spin a dodge, will get the surge to block and be defensive. So that shows more of their defensive prowess in the game. So I think part of that Deflect change was also to maybe highlight some of the more defensive Jedi and Sith. Do I like it? I'm indifferent on it. I think I wish they still blocked in melee, to be honest, because it's hard to rationalize spending 200 plus units on like Luke, and you're not rolling the greatest saves even if you have defense. It also makes full surprises a little worse because now white dice that you're adding to his defense roll, the command card, you're only going to get one extra save on one side of the dice versus two.
So that command card, I don't think you're going to see
down a little bit too. It's I don't know. It's yeah, but that I hope they go back to it or find some way to go around it. I'm thinking maybe we'll see some other things come out, upgrades or something that kind of play with that. Yeah,
it's space to play in the game.
Sabotage doesn't care for panic leaders, but they thought payload still didn't count. We got some Kenobi Anakin. Hey, John's on the chat. Hey, John. Commander Vader and Inspiring Presence could be cool. No, that's very cool. That's a very good combo. You're not going to worry about panic at all in the game.
A 4 infinite courage bubble is nice.
Speed, Vader's speed is still an issue. Commander, it is at 1. You have versus speed. I know that was upped, but I think on Commander you still bring it. I think it's still pretty much a staple.
Yeah, and there's so many battlefield choices now that move forward.
Yeah, he has Compel Core Trooper, right? Commander Vader with his infinite courage bubble means he can just dish out the suppression, have people still move, and never worry about panic. So that's nice.
Yeah, and then he's got his 3-pip suppression bomb that's really gonna throw some people off.
Yeah, that's gonna definitely hurt. Let's see, Gav Tank and Lat could use some help. 100% agree. I think the Lat more than the Gav Tank, but yes, I definitely agree. I think the Gav Tank with the E-Web in the back is a fun combo. We don't see a lot of, but it's fun.
It's cute, yeah.
Vader Lat is definitely a thing. Yes, the Imperial Lat has a TIE Fighter pilot, so that makes that thing book, and you put Vader in there, that's really nice.
Yeah. They also did make a small change to the transport stuff in that if you're transporting somebody and you blow up, that person loses their activation as well as taking a wound now. So that was an update in the new rules, is that if you're in the tank and the tank blows up, if you have a face-up order, you flip it face down. If you don't have a face-up order, you put an order token out and you flip it face down. So that unit immediately loses its activation. So that could be big.
Yeah. What do you feel about Deflect, Don? What do you think about the new ruling for Deflect and melee?
As someone whose entire army is all use Deflect, I'm not necessarily a fan of it, especially because you guys all know how well I roll defense dice with Maul already. And now take away his ability to surge defensively. Maul's going to die another turn sooner. So he'll die like turn 0. So I probably shouldn't bring Maul anymore.
You do. It's funny, guys, because on the channel, it happens to him. But when he plays him at the store, he does a lot better. So I don't know if it's a channel thing or what.
It's a Joe thing.
It's a Joe thing. Sure, we can go with that.
Yep.
I will give a little spoiler to you guys. Just a tiny spoiler for this week's video. That's Don does kill at least one full unit of clones. So I think we should give him
a lot.
A big prop for that. You know, it's great.
Sarvek, what did I mean by panic doesn't matter for payload? So in all of the scoring now, if your unit is panicked, you don't count for scoring. So if you have a panicked unit in range 1 of intercept the transmissions, that unit's not going to count as a controlling unit. If you have a panicked unit, it's in range 1 of the bomb cart, you still have that unit still counts for control on the bomb cart. So the bomb cart will still move even if you only have that one panicked unit there. As long as your opponent doesn't have another unit there contesting it, it would still move. So payload is the only thing now that a panicked unit can still contribute to.
If it's one panic unit on your side and I have no panic unit, I have one unit with non-panic, do I get the win or is it tied at that point?
Nope, it's tied. It has no effect on control. So
I haven't
panic
looked that
is
one up. Okay, good.
yeah.
But if it's round 6 and you're key positioning and Don with his Krennic Death Trooper list shoots me 2 times with 2 Death Troopers and gives me 4 suppression on my many Rebel 2 command list, I've lost that point, which is an easy way for me to lose the game.
Yeah.
So big things like that are gonna hit.
Krennic Death Troopers, especially with Krennic's command card on turn 6 to drop 2 suppression on everybody, could really swing control of a game in a big way if you don't roll off your suppression tokens that turn.
Yeah. Paul says basically Rebels are screwed. They're not screwed, but they definitely have to adjust because they have a lot more of those 2 command.
Yeah. You might see a lot more Jin, maybe.
Maybe you bring the Rebel commander and you just let him die, and then you nominate Din or someone to be the leader at that point. I don't know.
It's just charge the Rebel commander right up the field at the enemy.
Point, right? I will say the one thing I'm sad about from the points update and the rules update, not that I thought I was going to say the rules update, I wish Lando got a little cheaper. I think Lando, especially if you're looking at Gideon now, the new Empire Gideon.
Yeah, we don't need to compare Gideon to anything because Gideon is, for 100 points, Gideon's ridiculous. I used him again tonight. I did use the Darksaber on Gideon tonight. That was fun.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. And then Gideon decided that he didn't want to roll any red saves. He just wanted to roll 5 red blanks. Yep. And so I did that, and that was cool. So Bob got to kill my Gideon pretty easily.
It is a little odd to think that if Luke is in melee with Gideon rolls better defense and is immune pierce with his Darksaber, whereas Luke rolls no surging and is immune pierce, but a lot less points on the Gideon side. That's a little it's a little odd of an interaction there.
So
overall on Dark Troopers, Dark Trooper. you guys, if you guys haven't watched the video from this Sunday, go watch it. Dark Troopers, for someone playing against them from first experience, suck a little bit. They are tanky if they roll averages. You're looking at anywhere between 10 and 12 health, depending how much you kit them out. And it's armor, full armor, and they can still move and count for objectives. And so if you get you're like, I got 3 crits through, and then he rolls 2 or 3 blocks, you're like, oh, that was my good roll.
Yeah, I rolled really well on my Death Troopers against Joe, and then tonight with my Dark Troopers against Joe. Then tonight, when I went out for their second round, they did not perform anywhere near as well for me. Bob was rolling fire and I was not, so that helped. But
that helps.
He had Ion Spiders, an AAT tank with the armor-piercing shells, and the Magna Guards with the rocket. So he had a very expensive anti-armor list, and I still had 2 Death Troopers models alive. 1 unit was totally killed, but they are beastly to kill. But if you do roll blanks on them, they hurt just as much as rolling blanks on your other expensive units.
They do. The cool thing about them, I think, they're very expensive, but they have full armor. They can count. They shoot decent. They get double activations. I think that's the big thing.
2 activations.
I only have 7, 8, 9 activations max with them. That's not great, but you actually kind of have an extra one for the most part because they just come back again and do it again.
Right, and then that really helps them with the Ion. Like if Bob only had 1 Ion Spider, he's only at max taking away 1 of my 4 actions a turn, because they don't ever get suppression anyway. So there's no panicking for them. Dark Troopers are actually really great for objective play now because you can't suppress them off of an objective. And then whatever they pick up, they're going to hold on to for a while unless you get really lucky to kill them.
Someone's asking about Imperial Remnant.
Thanks,
yes,
Paul.
the Imperial. The Imperial Remnant, they showed it off on the stream today. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I just kind of read up on it. Yeah. I love the battlefield structure. So heavy weapons can go on different units. So for example, for the list they brought, it was a short trooper with a DLT, a stormtrooper with a DLT, a scout trooper with seismic, Imperial Death Troopers times 2 with the 221.
What you're missing though with that is the DLT on the stormtrooper and the shore trooper was the Dark Death Trooper DLT, not the DLT 19 of a stormtrooper.
You are correct. I'm sorry.
So mix and matching those heavies is really cool.
And the Imperial Death Troopers had the T-21 stormtroopers on them, just to mix it up. So that's a really neat mechanic I want to see more of in the battle forces, that you can really mix and match and play that differently. They have some drawbacks. They can only issue orders range 1 to 2, courage range 1 to 2, but it's really nice that they're playing with that building more. So I thought out of the first wave, the Blizzard Force had one of the cooler structures because they got a new unit that can do double heavy, which was cool. The other ones
Right.
have some cool tricks too. Don't get me wrong, I like them all, but this one seems to be the most unique in how they let you mix and match heavies. The remnants in it, you can bring E-Webs, Gideon, Dark Troopers, Death Troopers, Shore Troopers, Storm Troopers, Scout Troopers. So it's got a lot of depth to that battle faction.
And the Scout Troopers and Death Troopers count as cores for the purpose of building.
Yep.
So you can mix in all of the heavies in different ways. It does limit you have to have one of each core per core unit before you can add an additional. So you can't run 2 units of Death Troopers unless you have 1 unit of every other core there. So
yeah,
that'll
that way
be
you can't just
interesting.
spam Death Troopers.
Yeah.
What helped out? Paul wants to know what helped the Rebels in the new rules update. I mean, I think overall, to be honest, everyone got a bump from climb, right? I think unless you have jumper scale natively, having a Rebel Trooper be able to move up, having fleets being able to move up and down and around a building to be able to then next turn shoot something at range 2 is really nice.
Yeah.
I think, funny enough, you're gonna have to be more selective how you use things like Dauntless and Danger Sense, because you don't want to panic yourself. Because we didn't really say this, Don, but panic now can be issued at any moment. So I could have my rally, take off 1 suppression, have, let's just say, 1 in a Rebel Trooper. Your next turn, you shoot me. My commander's nowhere around. My unit's panicked now. He's going to get a panic token, and for purposes of control and such, I am panicked.
Yeah,
So
panic is checked constantly now. You are always checking a unit for panic, even it's not activation. And then I think it also affects during your activation if you take another suppression to do something like Dauntless or Compel. You could panic yourself. I don't know how that works exactly, but I did read something about that being a thing.
Other things that were kind of hot topics for a little bit were like, people are really trying to understand line of sight and how you can measure it from certain spots, and how lots of pictures in the Facebook group of like an ATSC with stormtroopers here, an ATSC with stormtroopers here, an ATSC with stormtroopers here. I think it will take a little bit for people to get their head around cover. Overall,
the ATSC thing is just the biggest. They had to do it because they didn't want to make it complex. So all vehicles just block line of sight. So it doesn't matter that you can see through the ATSC's legs. It's cone of its silhouette, or its cylinder of its silhouette, blocks everything. So it hurts you. Like in tonight's game, Bob bought the AAT tank and had B1s behind it. Those B1s couldn't shoot me because the tank was in the way. So it hurts and it hinders. I think it's just because the ATST model, you can see through the legs. You should be able to shoot there, but I just think that was for a simplification purposes of the rule. They didn't want to make it so all vehicles you can't see through except the AT-ST.
I think that's the biggest thing here, is that they were going for, I don't want to say simple, but more clean, more streamlined, more easier for you to get your friend into the game, right? Instead of having to go through this REG that had rules everywhere and was a little less clean, a little less organized. They kind of cleaned them up a little bit. You still have to go to the back for keywords. They didn't take that away, but there's more pictures, more examples, and they're going to improve it. There's a few things they need to fix and then change, but it's nice that they were able to make a universal terrain rule, because I can't tell you how many times I was playing people for the first time and they thought that's how terrain works, or they thought that's how area terrain works, or they thought because their model was less than half, they get cover from this, or whatever. This makes it a little bit more clear. It will take us experienced players a little longer to get used to it, but I think new players coming in will jump on that much quicker.
Yeah, the shoot from your feet thing, it is what you have to kind of think about, is that the whole silhouette point to point has to be able to see something without obstruction for you to have a no cover shot. So
there'll be more cover.
There's a lot more cover. Smaller things are going to give you more cover. It doesn't. Yeah, it's not terrible.
I think it boosts things like blast.
I was going to say
shooter much higher.
That is also a big perk to the Rebels, because any white save unit now has better opportunities to get more cover. So your white save Rebels have a better opportunity to get cover than they used to. It affects everybody the same, but things with white saves like cover more than things with red saves do. So
for sure, I think it's good. I think we'll get used to it as experienced players the more we play it. Thomas, he says that's it wouldn't affect your extra economy. So if you were suppressed but not panicked, or if you aren't suppressed, I should say, you still get 2 actions even if you were to spur yourself or Dauntless.
Right.
Which is true, Thomas. I was talking more about if you're suppressed, not panic, you give yourself that suppression to make you panic to finish your action. You're not going to be able to like dauntless into a objective because now you're going to be panicked after your turn. But you're right. You still get your full actions, which is nice. I think it's still good. You're just going to have to use it a little bit more sparingly than maybe you were before, which makes Sabine and my clan run a little sad, but that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, Rocket. B1s will definitely get cover a lot more frequently because you can just cohere a couple behind a bush and boom, free light cover.
B1s did need a boost, so that's good for them.
Yeah. I think we should find another way to nerf Padme. That's what we really need to find. She was just too strong.
Let's talk about some reactions we're getting from the community. There's a lot of reactions about Exemplar losing the ability to share standby equals Padme's broken, which equals she's trash. I 100% couldn't disagree more. I think, does it make her a little less valuable? Sure, you can't use the standby every turn. Does it make her unusable unit because every turn she has one less thing she can share with her? No, I still think she's the cheapest option the Republic has if you want to share tokens, range 1 to 2 to anyone around you versus just one token from a clone next to you. And she can do that every turn. She doesn't need a command card like Yoda. She doesn't have to have anything. If you have a clone commander with her who's giving her more dodges or aims, she can then push those out farther than he can, right? And you kind of combo that. So if she has an aim and a dodge, or your clones around you have an aim and you're shooting, you could steal one from your clones and one from her. So I think she's still valuable. I think her secret mission could come into play. I have a harder time with secret mission getting it off because it's very obvious with her because you have to divulge the card so then your opponent kind of knows what you're trying to do. But I don't think she's broke. I think the standby sharing was very gimmicky. Good time, Thomas. That's exactly what I'm saying. It was very gimmicky anyways. We saw it. Clones came out. Rec started a list for people who didn't play anything. Standby sharing was just broken. They won everything with that. They rolled it back. They rolled back clones again. And I think a lot of it stems from that the standby sharing, that you could hide one unit behind cover, have one up front. They share the standby, and you have, Sentinel on them with Overwatch, and now you have this very hard bubble. I also think the reason Padme got hit was because you saw something like Padme Yoda tank or Padme Anakin tank with this standby sharing shenanigans with a tank. I think that's another reason why we see that.
Yeah.
He's a solid 5. Thanks, Tom. Thanks. But yeah, I think that's what you see with the tank. I don't think Padme's trash, and I don't think she's broke. I think Exemplar got a little worse, but still very strong. I will say with movement, one of the nice things I like is depending on the height of the thing you're moving over, besides barricades. So if it's like a little scatter box that we use a lot in the channel, you just move over them. They don't lower your speed. That part's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
At least a 5.125. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that. I try hard.
While we're talking about barricades, I did also see something. You can no longer select a barricade to be a point. So you can't put a key position on there. You can't put it as the destination for your bomb cart. You can't put a token on a standard barricade anymore. So that's an interesting rule. It didn't come up often, I think, but it could have.
Yeah. I think the other thing to keep in mind, too, that was changed a little bit, just for us to get used to, is that before, if I was behind a building and I moved here and I couldn't move any farther behind this building, so you can't see my unit leader, it's behind the building, right? I could cohere the rest of my unit, including my heavy forward if I want to, so they all could shoot that other unit they could see. If your unit leader does not have line of sight now, you don't have line of sight to that unit. So that's a change. I think it makes the cohesion forward, trying to throw them out there, a little less valuable.
You don't really have a reason to do that anymore.
There's not. And I think the rule makes sense for the fact that everything else is based from that unit leader to one way or another. Yeah. So I think it just fits more with the rules. I'm indifferent with it. I don't think it's a great change. I don't think it's a bad change. I think it's fine.
I think one interesting thing with that is the way that wounds can now be handed out within line of sight, and how it does. You don't have to have line of sight on a model to put a wound on it. You just can do that. Mm-hmm. But it's the wound threshold of the models that you can see is how many wounds you can actually put on a unit. So it really actually hurts things like Wookiees and B2s, anything with more than 1 health per model. So the example that they give in the book is if you have a Wookiee, 1 Wookiee out that can be seen and 3 Wookiees behind line of sight block and cover, that 1 Wookiee that is out there has 2 wounds on him already. you can still put 3 wounds total on that unit of Wookiees if you get that, because that's the wound threshold of a Wookiee. So that kind of hurts those higher health count models. If you're trying to do, or if you do have 1 out of cover, you get an opportunity to do more wounds than, say, if you had 1 stormtrooper out of 4 out of cover, then you're only 1 wound threshold, so you can only do 1 wound max. So that's kind of an interesting thing that was in the rulebook for the wound changes.
Yeah, it was. What else, Don, should we talk about?
I mean, I really, for Hawk the Traveler, he said that coming in, that the change to climb makes terrain less interesting. I think it makes terrain a lot more interesting because, like, take the Tatooine map that we play on. If you didn't have a unit that specialized with climbing, like scale or expert climber or a jetpack, you're walking around buildings. Now that you can go up and down buildings with every unit, it makes that terrain matter more. It gives you that height advantage more. Height, I think, is a big deal now with the terrain and seeing things for cover and stuff like that. So I think that makes it a lot better. It's going to mean your basic cores that didn't have anything can work on maps that have higher elevation changes a lot better.
Yep, I agree. I think it makes it more interesting. I get what you're getting at. You're getting at that. Before it was if you can balance, right? So if you had something really narrow, but you could still just get that balance, you could do it. But
yeah,
I mean overall, I think there's more surfaces that you can easily fit that small circle base on than you can't. And I think that's why they're allowing like notch vehicles, for example, to overhang, because it makes sense.
Right.
What do I speculate the new dots units that rules hint towards? Oh, like the limited, like you only bring 1 of those units in the rulebook. And I think there's also a little blurb in the rulebook about if your unit has a force upgrade slot, the force upgrade slot is measured from the leader, not from the whole unit. I think we're going to see something like a Padawan or like a small unit of like generic Sith Inquisitors,
maybe
Jedi Guards, etc. Hoping for Padawan more, but I think you'll see something like that. And instead of being able to spam those Sith Inquisitors or whatever it's going to be,
maybe it'll be
a
limited
to 1. It's not named, but you can only limit it to 2, right? It's 2, Don.
Well, it could be limited to however many dots they put on the card. So maybe if they make it a special forces, but limited to 2, so you can't bring 3 units of the Jedi Padawans or whatever it is. So that I think is just future proofing what they can do with what slot they put certain characters or certain units into, so that you can't spam a unit that maybe is too good. Like maybe the core that I keep wanting to see is jetpack stormtroopers. So just a stormtrooper with jump. It's not as effective anymore because everything can climb, but maybe you wouldn't want all 6 of your cores to have jump 1 or something like that. So if they made it limited it to 1 or 2, it could be different.
Yeah. Hawk the Traveler says, so basically naked cores can just jump back around. No, they could climb up, but there's a good distinction
still a
between
speed
jump
1
and climb. Like there's someone asked, like, if I can't move up this fence, right, because you can't put your base on it without overhanging, then I can't go over it. Are you right? They can't move onto it. A jump person could jump over an ATRT. They could jump over, depending how fast the jump is, right, 2 or 3, depending on the unit. They can still transverse better than a climb can. Climb is really going to help those building models, as long as they're buildings or huts or like little cliffs, mountains, anything that's higher that has flat surfaces. That before you just spend an action to clamber up and risk dying, or 2 actions to get up there, it would just slow the game down.
Yeah, I think the Hoth map you see on our channel, it's gonna be nice for that, because
you only have to climb those. They're less
you don't have
than many.
Yeah, so that'll be just a nice change.
Are they going to fix the ability to leapfrog high buildings in the single bound, since their hall is so tall, utter ridiculous?
Are you talking about ATSTs, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know if he's talking about ATSTs.
Oh, that's ATSTs.
Yeah. Are they going to fix it? I don't know if they'll fix it. I think the idea here, like Don mentioned earlier, was to keep it simplified. So instead of having every model or unit size have a different set of rules that you have to remember and track, I think they were trying to make it uniform. I think, I don't know, it's called an all-terrain transport, so maybe it can all-terrain up a building. I don't know.
I mean,
but I get what you're saying.
It's also, the ATST is not a climbing vehicle, so anything that is taller than the height of that ATST, it can't go over.
It's still very tall.
ATST. I know it's very tall, but it's not going to jump a skyscraper or anything. Not that anybody has skyscraper terrain, unless you're playing Warhammer. But
Man, I need to get some skyscraper terrain now for the
You
channel.
do. I think that should be our next thing.
Coruscant map would be fun.
Skyscraper. Yeah.
A lot of wants.
Yeah, I think a lot of people keep pointing out the ATST in how it doesn't really fit into the rules. And I think it comes back to they needed to make one rule for vehicles, and just because the ATST is tall, it doesn't make sense for the ATST specifically, but it's not going to break the game. You're not going to see people running double ATSTs and going meta because now their ATSTs can go over a taller piece of terrain. It's not going to change much, especially with the way that cover works now and how ATST's height isn't an advantage anymore for cover.
I mean, especially since before, most buildings that it's tall as or taller, it could see over anyways because the line of sight was drawn from the top.
Yeah.
So it was seeing over buildings anyways. I don't know how much of a problem it's going to be. We'll see. If it becomes a super issue, I'm sure they'll deal with it. I don't foresee it being a crazy issue. I mean, Rebels are going to probably get a nice ATST there with Incognito with Chewie in it for the Wookiee battle.
Joe's going to have to buy an ATST and have Josh 3D print a Chewie model to hang out of it.
It's all facts. It's all facts. I'm most excited for the Ewoks, guys. I want to see more about the Ewoks. We know that there's like a Wicket Incognito token now, and we saw the Ewok symbol in their mercenary factions.
I am not excited for Ewoks.
I need an Ewok battle force with the same kind of rules of Remnant, where I can bring Ewoks as cores if they're special force or whatever it is. I want to bring a full force of Ewoks just to run at his stormtroopers, and I hope they have like instead of the keyword that Op Vader has against Jedi to get the surge to crit against 4 users. I want Ewoks to surge to crit against stormtroopers. That'd be
perfect. When is LVO?
I think is it next week? I believe
the 26th through the 20th. So I don't know what the meta is going to be for LVO.
It'll be exciting because it's going to be up in the air.
It is, because not a lot of people have had a lot of time with these rule changes, so it's going to be really hard to find that sweet spot, especially because Dark Troopers are not technically out yet. I think at Adepticon, it's going to be Dark Trooper City. But for LVO, I think you're going to see a lot of different things, which is going to be super fun for people playing in it, because with the new rules changes, I think suppressive lists are going to be great. I think you're going to see units like droidicas go up a little bit more in value, because anything with a suppressive keyword now can change scoring in the game when it matters. So if you throw 2 suppression on a stormtrooper that already had 2 suppression that was scoring the winning victory point and they lose it, it's going to change the course of a game. So we'll have to see, what units come out on top from the rules changes.
Yeah, it'll be good to see. I think it'd be nice to have a hard copy of the rules. Yeah, I mean, I personally, I don't want them ever to release like codexes like they do in Warhammer, because I don't want to have to go buy those.
Right.
If people want them printed, I know a lot of people will get them like 3D binder printed at like, I don't know,
Tinkos.
That's fine, but your luck is you would buy that and print it, and then a week later they change 2 rules and now your book's out of date, right? So it's hard. I get people like hard copies though. I just have it up on my iPad digitally. That's fine. FedEx can bind you a copy. There you go, Brandon for the one. FedEx can bind you a copy. There you go.
X Zombie asks, do you think they'll release more battle packs? Are you talking about battle forces?
He's talking about the battle packs. So you can go buy the 501st
battle pack. Well, it's a battle force box.
Yeah, but I think yes in the future. But they did say Remnant will not come out with a battle pack. It's just going to be print and get the rules online
and play with Gideon. Yeah, would have been nice for them to include the command cards or whatever it's going to be with Gideon, but I'm sure they didn't do that.
No, I'm guessing from a design cycle, he probably was done in printing before they finished up the rules for the battle force, would be my guess. I think eventually, especially when more of these battle forces come out, you're going to have a card pack, because AMG does it for their other game too, Marvel. You'll see more card packs coming out to release some of these cards. So if you don't want, like someone who has the Rebels and the Clones and doesn't need to buy those Battle Force boxes, I just have printed versions of those Battle Force cards. I think eventually there'll be a way to get those cards, all the Battle Forces, and some other new cards, like a card pack 3 or something they'll call it.
Yeah, that would be nice, because it is annoying sometimes to have to play sleeved if you're playing like the Battle Forces, because you don't have the same backing.
The card pack, yeah, I'd buy that. It'd be nice to have all the cards. Certain things they definitely read. Like I have an original box of vets that have the range 1 to 3 on the heavy, and I bought a newer box of vets probably 6-7 months ago, and that has the range 1 to 4. So as new stock gets reprinted, they have changed some of the erratas, if you will.
Yeah, build your own card pack sounds great, Thomas. That would be fantastic, but not really feasible in the the world of AMG, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It
What
is
else,
an
guys?
it is an
1.5.
interesting thing though, with the tournament rules that your command hand is now part of the open knowledge. It's not a secret anymore, so you don't necessarily need to sleeve them if your opponent knows you're playing a battle force that you printed the cards for. So that's kind of an interesting thing.
In a little bit. Just a little. Is your contingency secret still?
I don't think so. I think everything is open information.
Yes, David. We are planning to play the Crash X-Wing. I have it. Whenever I make free time to finish painting that thing, we'll have it on the channel. We also have Dynamic Exit. We will get to you guys soon. I promise. We have that too. So we'll get a video up from those two. Also got some Crisis Protocol coming in the near future as well. It won't replace Legion. It'll just be like an additional video drop
Just
on
a bonus video somewhere.
Wednesday or Thursday. Shatterpoint, when it's hit, it also will be additional videos. It won't replace Legion. Legion isn't going where. That's the main thing of this channel. So if you like weekly Legion drops, keep watching. I did like, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm pretty sure I'm right on this because I have been working all day. But IG-11's command card, his 1-pip, which was that range 2 kind of donut hole card, if you will. You only shoot things at range 2 now. Is within, they changed the rules. So now it's within means anything up to range 2. So he can now do his donut hole range 1 and range 2, which makes that card way better.
And the Shadow Collective Mandalorian rockets are now range 1 to 4 instead of just range 4.
Technically,
so
yeah.
They are much better now with the rockets than even because if it had a specific range, like I think the Rebel rockets are 2 to 4, those stay 2 to 4. Whereas the Mandalorian
I didn't see
Shadow
that. So
Collective,
you're saying the Mandalorian or the Shadow Collective now can do.
Yeah, it's 1 to 4. Because anything that doesn't specify a range is everything in that range included. So they did ask about the Shadow Collective rockets, and it's 1 to 4.
That's just silly, but that's good for them. Those rockets are amazing at wiping out strike teams, guys. You take away their heavy cover plus, as we call it, because you can blast them. Is the X-Wing scale about the same X-Wing train prints? I don't know. It's good size. It is considerably bigger than the ATST, the main piece, and there's a couple small pieces where it breaks off. I'll show it on the channel soon. But it is, and I know it's expensive, but it's a pretty good size piece. It really is. When are the MCP videos you promised us soon? We have the train all built and it's painted up. I have, I think, 10 roughly minis painted at this point for me.
Yeah.
Our new guy that we have from ASR Miniatures, I've linked him in the last few videos. He does commission work for painting. He's our new, sponsored partner, if you will. He is painting a bunch of MCP minis for us, including another box of Shadow Collective and such for the channel. So as soon as we get some of those back, or I can actually sit down and paint more, we'll have a video to you. If you guys don't care about painting miniatures, you just want to see the gameplay, we can throw up a video early. I have plenty of minis. I was just trying to get you guys a fully painted army.
Really get that experience.
Yeah,
you don't want that gray plastic on the channel, guys. We're not Jason.
Jay says command here. Let's try this on the screen. Jay says command cards are still secret info. Battle decks are not.
Interesting. I thought I saw something.
I thought that I think you're right, Jay. I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure you're right. I didn't think you had to show your command cards. I thought it was just the battle decks, but I wasn't pulling it up as Don had it. So where's your painting guy located? He's in the States, the southern region. I forget where exactly, but he's in the United States. I have his information linked in our last couple of videos. You can message him and you guys can talk about it if you have any questions. Super cool guy. He's actually really active in our Discord. So if you guys are in our Discord, jump in the Discord. You can talk with them. Yeah, Thomas threw out another blurb here about it. So yeah, you guys please keep proving Don wrong. It always helps. So I always appreciate that.
It does make me feel special.
Only discarded command cards are not secret. Yeah, that makes sense. Everyone's saying it, so yeah, it's okay. Don's wrong. It's fine.
I am wrong. It's fine. I've been wrong before.
Yeah, you guys have to let us know on Sunday how many rules we mess up. We were trying to make sure we filmed a lot slower than usual to try to make sure we were hitting the rules correctly for you guys on Sunday. And obviously, every video here on out will also use the new rules too. So you guys will see a lot of that. If you are in our Discord, we have been polling the Patreons, regular and commanders, for just simple things like what faction you want to see tonight, what map do you want to see tonight. So if you're a Patreon, whether you do the lowest tier or the highest tier, you get some say now in the video. So make sure you're doing that. What else they talk about recently that we want to discuss, or anything else big from the rules change? I'm trying to scroll through the highlights here. That was big that we should talk about. What else you guys want to hear us talk about tonight?
The pass. We didn't see any passing.
I think once again, funny enough, if I have to say one faction came out the most ahead from this update, it might be Gar, which is weird to say because they just had point decreases. Probably should have a little bit more, but they had point decreases across some of their stuff, and then they had things like the pass mechanic. So if you're a low activation army, which they usually are, that's going to help you. They had changes to the way that the melee works for Jedi. Well, all three of their Jedis, Yoda surges naturally, and then Qui-Gon, or not Qui-Gon, I wish we Qui-Gon. Obi and Anakin can still spend the dodge to fly or to surge to block a melee. Climb makes the clone troopers obviously more versatile. They can just move on up, which is helpful because it's hard to keep that force moving and surviving because they really rely on tokens they're very expensive red saves and they don't surge to anything natively. So
yeah.
Alex says you should I'll put it up on the screen. He says you should have had the Salt Crown.
Yeah, but that game I won. I didn't need the Salt Crown for that.
They just like it on you, buddy. We just got to put it. We should make him a salt tiara. So if he's not really salty, he can have like a half salt tiara on, maybe a salt sash. Really getting going. Qui-Gon did not get announced. I didn't mean to mention Qui-Gon. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Hopefully he will soon.
Yeah.
That was for Joe. I wore it at the very, very end of the video, I believe, didn't I?
I think in the discussion.
Yeah. So if you stayed till the very end, you got to see me with the crown. I put it on.
You should have had it on before, but
I probably should have, but I was too salty to
having hair apparently makes you too good to wear the salt crown. What faction or battle force do you think will be meta? Battle force wise, I think your Empire, I'm blanking on the name of their Empire battle force now.
Blizzard Force. Blizzard Force.
There you go.
As of right now, I don't think
pretty much the top dog.
It's top tier of the battle forces. I think bottom tier of the battle forces is still the 501st. They got a little better again with the new rules and the point decrease, but it's just they have a lot more limits. Like one of the new cards, you have to have everyone fully within range 1 to benefit from the tokens, and it's all the most expensive units in that army. So it's it's phase 2s and it's ARC troopers, and Anakin's not the most expensive Jedi, but you know what I mean.
They did get a boost with the rules of suppression because that everything has courage 2 minimum in that battle force, so they do have a more suppression handling ability.
Do we think we'll ever go back to and rework old cards like Commander Luke? I don't know. I would like them to. I think if anything, you'll see different versions. I don't know about Luke. He already has 2, but I would love to see. AMG does it for their Marvel games. I'd love to see some official sculpts from Han and Leia, especially. And if they want to give them new command cards with the same cards, that's fine. Or if they want to make them opposites, so make them operative versions with different cards that you can use, that's cool too. I would love a Luke Commander rework because Luke Commander is, he's just not a big fan.
I think he's the bottom tier saber user.
Without
Master of the Force.
There's no Master Force. Maul doesn't have it either, but he gets 3 actions, so that helps compensate for that, and he can hit like a brick, right? Luke has a native 2 attack range gun, I guess that he's got a good courage bubble, but for the points, I don't know. Empire is in probably the best spot they've been in a long time. They're very well-rounded. Thomas says they totally are.
Yeah, I think they are in the best. They can just go any which way, and they have answers to most things.
Your painted Sabine and her family look great. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Great. Yeah.
Joshua, was that before we started having him on, or did you find him before us? Just curious. Any chance of more errata, like new command card changes? I want arcs to get a buff. Arcs need a buff. I've been saying this for weeks if you guys watch things. I think arcs, really simple way you can make them keep them the same points. Just add reliable 1. I'd like reliable 2, but reliable 1 alone, like a phase 2, gives them a little bit more defense. They can share it. A little more versatile. I would love in the Battle Force, only in the Battle Force, if they made arcs have the jetpacks for free. Like a Battle Force
that would be a cool thing to
have
boost the Battle Force.
In the Battle Force, jetpacks cost 0 for them. We're giving them a nice jump too. things like that. I wish they would do a little bit more like that. And I think that's what you're seeing with the new Remnant Battle Force is that they're doing a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yep. Blizzard Force is good.
Yeah, Blizzard Force is borderline too good, which is funny because I've never run it on the channel.
I think you. Though I think in our summer cup we had like 2.
The summer cup we had 2, and Mike took it pretty much all the way to the end there with his fantastic Blizzard Force. So.
I do feel bad for Mike. I beat him because he just made an error at the end. He should have been in the final probably, but
yeah,
we were playing tournament rules, so I wasn't going to stop and help him because that's how we organize the cups. They're supposed to be
especially turn 6
games.
in that game is not the time to help somebody, but
yeah. Let's talk a little bit about. It's not necessarily rules. So if you guys want to hear about more rules,
there's some more things that we can talk about.
What else? Yeah.
Units can't begin the first round of the game in base contact with unclaimed objectives anymore.
Yes. No more infiltrating on top of the objective.
Yeah, infiltrate and
no
scout
scouting
units.
3 onto objectives.
Mm-hmm. We do actually showcase that pretty well in the video coming up this week. So you guys will see that on the channel as well. What else is on this little list of stuff? Yeah, everything has a silhouette now, so there's even vehicle silhouettes.
Let's stop on that for just a sec. Someone on the forum started talking, everyone replied to it. It's silly that it's just the silhouette. It's just like, you're supposed to imagine all the way up for a vehicle and there's not an official silhouette. Do we really want an official silhouette for every unit in this game? Do you want to pull out a wonder of silhouettes? That's
I want to see the ATSC silhouette.
Yeah, hang on. Let me pull it out of
this tall.
So the train studio's in the house. Hey guys. But yeah, I'm glad they just made it like that. I don't think we need or want just that many silhouettes, and the game gets bigger. They would add even more silhouettes. I've seen some complaining about the notch-based silhouette because for some units it's smaller, some it's taller, whatever. But I think it just once again streamlines it. I think it makes it a little clearer for people how it works.
Another change they did was for covert ops. You can no longer infiltrate unless you have another commander in your list. So
unfortunately,
you can't just nominate a commander.
This is what Iden and it's Cassian.
Cassian, and I think Lando, doesn't he have infiltrate?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's covert ops. Yeah. Lando's in the whole different category. Talking about him, he needs to be a little cheaper to see competitive play. In my opinion, I know some people love Lando. I do think the covert ops hurt rebels more than Empire in most circumstances there. So that's a little unfortunate.
They also took away the wounds on not being able to take a full speed compulsory move for our speeders. So if you can't complete your speed 3 move on your compulse, you just stop as far as you can go. You can no longer fly off of a board on accident or on purpose with a speeder, even with compulse.
Yeah. Which I think, once again, it's that trying to remove some negative play experiences, especially for newer players. Us seasoned players, if you played the game and you're going to tournaments, shouldn't be mad about that because you weren't flying vehicles off anyways, unless you just were, I guess. I don't know. I mean, X-Wing did the same thing a while back where you couldn't, they changed the rules so you couldn't, barrel roll off of the map. At one point you could if you actually declared it, you had to do it. So just trying to remove some of those negative play experiences. Garth asked, he got the original core set when it came out, but couldn't get anyone in, so he got the Separatist Battle Force. Was that a bad choice? No, Separate Battle Force is great. B1s are great. You get a lot of B1s. You get Grievous. You can play the Battle Force as is. You can expand upon that. I think the Battle Forces are probably the best value for this game to get into the game and expand.
Yeah, that's a great starting point for anybody who's new to the game or wants to get back into it after not playing for a long time.
Paul brings up a good point, and I think yes, you can. They do say one of the parts you can, if your template comes off the thing, but then you land back on, that's fine. As long as you end your activation now on it. Before, you couldn't do that.
Correct.
So yeah, that's correct.
What other little rules?
Less explosions is bad.
Line of sight can't be drawn to units in close transports anymore, so you can't whipcord, grapple line, ambient rifle.
Which I think is fine with everyone. I think that makes sense.
I think that's a great.
You should have been able to shoot something in there, but
if a unit in an open transport, if the open transport moves more than once, you only get one action no matter what.
Which is a big change for people who like IG-11 in a land speeder, because now I can't compulse double move and still aim and shoot on my turn. I do think it's I did remember the other change was relentless, because you can pivot before or after your move. if you were in base contact with the unit and you pivot before you moved off contact, you can trigger Relentless, or you can move off of a withdrawal, right? And you can still trigger Relentless. I think, is that the ruling, Don? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yes, I feel like you're right that you can do
Trying to go
Relentless.
through the form questions
Yeah.
that haven't been answered. So here's a question, as you're remembering that. If you have covert ops, can you still use it if you already have 2 operatives?
Yes,
Yeah, if you
absolutely.
have 2 commanders, so you have another commander, you can covert op and become a 3rd operative as long as there's another commander out there.
Correct. Here's one that Joe used to screw up all the time that he's got right now is it's cumbersome.
It's
You
like I
can
knew, guys.
now,
I
yeah,
knew that cumbersome
with
was gonna be
cumbersome,
coming
now
up.
you can shoot and then move. You still cannot move and then shoot with it though. So
I've
that's
done
a
that. I
slight
think with almost
change.
every video with casting, because in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm cumbersome. I can't move and then shoot. But if I already have my rifle up, I can shoot and move. So now it's officially that way. So if you watch all the other videos where people say I messed up, technically not anymore. I'm good. I'm good now. No damage for short compulsory moves helps with speeder bikes now. Yeah, oh yeah. So if they need to move slow or something and purposely kind of nudge in, or if they're stuck in that weird scenario where they can't go over something, they won't just take wounds and die horrible deaths. So that's good. What else on that list, Don? Anything else we haven't touched on for the new rules?
No, I think we've hit most of the big changes.
We did sample Gideon and the Dark Troopers. I think both are really great units, and they're going to the faction that's probably in a really good spot already. So I think you're going to see even more Empire. I think Empire has 3 top variations of their list once Gideon comes out. I think it's going to be the Blizzard Force variation. There's going to be the Krennic Death Trooper Suppression variation with the new rules, and I think you're going to definitely see the Gideon Dark Trooper variation of those rules. And then the Remnant will probably fit in that Gideon space too, because that Remnant sounds very solid. But yeah, I think you'll see all that. I think Don and I were talking about this. Don, what do you think about Gideon's card where you can make a Dark Trooper kind of go somewhere else? You kind of airdrop him.
Yes, the airdrop a Death Trooper or a Dark Trooper, I think actually has a lot more function in not using it just to drop them in within range 2 and start attacking things. But I think it's going to be a great thing for objective play, or to take if your game is really close and you have that 1 Dark Trooper unit with 1 Dark Trooper left, you can just airdrop him back to safety and you save a 200-point unit. That's an interesting use of that card. But I really was thinking about it earlier. If you play something like Recover the Supplies and you have that 1 supply crate you put super close to your deployment zone, you got your 1 Stormtrooper or Rebel Trooper unit just sitting there holding it the whole game. Now you surprise drop a Dark Trooper on it. They kill the Rebel Trooper and pick it up. It's theirs. Or you can use it, round 5 on, like hostage exchange. If they've got their hostage already in their deployment zone, drop the Dark Troopers behind, kill the hostage unit, maybe pick them up.
Outrider Dan says, you can get that jet token and get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, you could do that with them. You could grab an objective token. No, you can't, because you leave all the tokens.
You do. I think you leave.
Yeah, you cannot fly away with a token.
That would be good though. Grab the recover supply and just jetpack them to the far corner of the board. We did mention this earlier, Wolfenstein. What changed with Deflect? Deflect now only works in range, so you cannot in melee spend a dodge to activate Surge to block. That's the short of it. Your special users you're talking about are your Anakin and Obi who don't have Deflect. They have Demso and Sorcery Mastery. They can still spend a dodge in melee and get that Surge to block.
Yes.
What we got here? We got biggest or worst new rule is ground vehicles blocking line of sight. So ATST walking wall. From a realistic standpoint, yeah, it's silly because their legs are so thin. From a game mechanic wise, because a lot of your vehicles are tanks or AA5s are big solid objects you really can't see through. I get why they did that to make it more uniform. I think people have a lot of issues right now that I feel like a lot of the conversation on is ATSTs in it. ATST silhouettes today. You can climb up a vehicle. It has cover from here. It's a lot of ATST thing, and I don't think it's really as much of a problem as people are making it sound like it is, because ATSTs aren't in every list.
Exception to the vehicle rules.
Yeah.
Nope, no flying away, Paul, with the Grogu token, unfortunately, for those Dark Troopers. They can't have all the things, I guess.
That would be themey though, Paul. That would make sense. They could just take off with them. You guys see that Mando season 3 trailer? Because that was pretty nice.
That was really nice.
I would like to get some of those upgrades. They changed Deflect, so Vader's bad now, i.e. easy to kill. No, I don't think he's easy to kill. He lost one side of the defense dice when you have a dodge. Is he easier to kill in melee? A little bit, yeah. Is he still exactly the same in every other case? Yeah. I think Vader is still one of the better ones in the game, especially with everything he can do.
Oh, you are right. It says remove that unit from the battlefield, keeping all tokens, and then place it on the battlefield with
Man, Outrider Dan showing up on Dawn.
Yeah.
Man, Outrider Dan, I'll give you a little mark on here.
I suck at this game, guys.
Yes, and Vader, especially since Vader's command card. It's a good point, Dan. He can get reliable 2 from Darkness Descends, which usually don't need Surge to block them that much. I mean, Curse, there's always an exception, right? You roll those 6 surges, you're going to want it, but it doesn't happen every time. But yeah. I really do think the Deflect case, so they were going for, at least, we'll see if they keep it that way, was trying to just highlight some other Force users' abilities to make them like they were supposed to be. Obi's supposed to be really defensive. Right. His ability was just guarding, but now it gives him a bonus to defending for himself, too, which is really nice.
Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily making any Saber Wielder bad, because the Saber Wielders were really good. It just makes them easier in melee for another Saber Wielder to do more damage to.
I will say, most of the time when you have a Saber user on a Saber user and they both had Deflect, and they both always had dodges, it was a really slugfest of just hitting each other for 1 or 2 damage each round, right? Now, but I think what people are missing is Saber user is actually best if you don't go after the other Saber user. If you go wipe a full unit of Death Troopers, or you go wipe a full unit of, Rebel Commandos, or whatever the case is, right? Because they don't have immune Pierce, and you're paying so much points for that Pierce 2, Pierce 3. You really want to use it.
Yeah. Saber slap fight. Yes.
Paul says you have to put the crown on because you got it wrong 3 times, and then people are agreeing with him as well.
Yes. The crown is in Joe's basement, and I am in my basement.
And I am at a hotel, so we can't
help anybody.
That's why we need a salt tiara for you to have at home for these.
Salt tiara. What a salt brooch that I can just wear around my neck.
We should have someone make us a crate map, so that way it's just all salt all the time.
Yeah, any of you terrain makers out there, just make us a nice crate map with real salt is the important part, so we can
real salt. Okay, great.
We can really make sure all those bases have salt all over the bottom of them.
I'm excited to see. I want to see more on the other units now that they've fully spoiled Gideon Dark Troopers well before they come out. I want to start seeing more. We got that tiny glimpse of Cody's card and Wexler and Boyles in there, which look great. But show me. I want to see command cards. I want to see Ewoks. Give me something. Asajj, Ahsoka. We've seen the model. We saw the box leak from France, I think it was, for Asajj.
I wish the Asajj post was better.
4 command cards, one being a team up card with Dooku. So that'll be interesting to see how that works.
Yeah, the team up card could be a lot of fun.
It could be.
And maybe it's just bad. Maybe Dooku betrays her and just kills her. That would be something you'd want to play, right?
It sounds like something that might put that crown on your head if it happens. The flaw card that makes Dooku or Here Come to My Side, that'd be good. I'd love to see. I know this game is still young, as in the fact that there's still a ton of expansions they can release, but I'd love to see some card packs where I could take like the Imperial Callus and make him a rebel. So maybe like if they ever make Zeb also comes with a Callus card, kind of like Yoda came with a Chewie card, so you can bring him over to the rebel side. Of course, I'd rather have the Rebel version of that miniature where he's actually in his normal gear, but I'll take either one.
What about Rebel? What am I thinking of? Rebel Iden. Because we were introduced to Iden and she became a rebel like 10 minutes into the video game.
Let's see. Let's look. Let's go to the question here. Select Fest on Saber, so cool and thematic, having it just whoever attacks first. So let's go. It's not whoever attacks first, because remember, it only activates Surge to block, which is one of 6 sides of that dice.
Right.
So if you roll 6 surges and you die, that sucks. It's not going to happen much.
Right. And
I think our game against Dooku, every time you spent a dodge, you never rolled a surge.
This is true. It did
we
not
swung at each other for like
one time.
I don't want to spoil it, but we swung at each other for a lot. And so I don't think it's going to come up that much. You're going to have those one-off swings where you will roll a lot of surges and be a little bitter. I think something like putting aggressive tactics on Dooku, like maybe someone in this chat did, it makes sense because it gives them that, one surge. And if you roll off that one surge, you're going to have what you need. So there's ways around. I don't think it makes them instantly die. Saber users most Saber users have 6+ health. Most of them roll red dice. Most of them are going to have a dodge token usually anyway. So they're not usually going to die from one swing from another Saber users. No more Empire expansion, so every
Yeah,
unit gets
Alex,
less. I agree.
Empire is sitting pretty. They are
What do we
sure.
have up? We have Cody, which is Republic. We have Asajj, which is Separatists. We have Ahsoka, which is
Rebel
Rebels.
Ahsoka.
We have Ewoks coming, which I'm assuming are Rebels only, but they haven't shown
Well,
anything yet.
it,
So
it
yeah,
could
so
be
I think the
battle
Empire's good.
or they could be the mercenary.
Well, they'll be mercenary, but I think they're only going to be playable in Rebel Army.
Probably.
I don't think you're going to see them in the Shadow Collective running around with like one eye patches and like a gnarl face. You know,
You don't know. You never know.
I would love to see how they I
Maybe
want to
we
see that
get.
interaction, how they steal the speeder bikes. I know they mentioned on stream forever ago that there will be a card that lets them kind of steal a speeder bike for a turn or something.
Yeah.
I want to know more about that. Tell
Maybe
me
we
more
get
how I can make
Jawas.
Don's life miserable.
Maybe we get Jawas and Ewoks in the same like release. Empire gets some Jawas, or Shadow
Ready?
Collective gets Jawas.
I'm going to say something most people disagree with, but besides Ewoks, next thing I'd love to see is a Gungan battle force. I would buy the heck out of a Gungan battle force. I want it all. I want like Jar Jar. I want Commander. I want the army. I want people riding those. I can't think of the name of the creatures.
I want the giant shield dinosaurs.
I want the shield thing. Yeah, so everyone at range 2 gets shield 2. I want a Gungan battle force, like legit. Like they're still going to have a brand army. You know, I want a really good one.
Yeah, new Boba needs something so that I can play him because I'm not playing any of that Rebel trash Boba.
You know, the potential of an Imperial Remnant battle force between now and Moff getting released.
Well, the Imperial Remnant is releasing with Moff Gideon.
They already showed it off, Dan, on their stream. It's really cool. Has some special rules we talked about a little earlier in this chat as well. I want the Ewok battle force though, so I can have lots of Ewoks. Commander C-3PO, God C-3PO, yes, Paul. I'm all about those lists.
C-3PO is a commander for the Ewoks.
Yep. No.
And he can fly on a hover chair.
I think the first time I played an Ewok force against you, Don, we'll just put the crown on you at the start.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna show up. just play against Josh with that.
Yeah, I think also the thing, and I think they hinted at it in this book with the force upgrade ruling, where if your unit has a force power, it's drawn from the unit leader, not from the other units, is hinting at we're going to get some either Padawans or small units like we talked about earlier, like the maybe Inquisitors, generic Inquisitors, or generic Temple Guards. I think will really help Republic and Separatists kind of flesh them out more. Because Republic
the Separatists could use more sabers.
The Republic should easily have the most sabers in the game, and they're not. So they need to up that number. I'm hoping Republic Ahsoka is like right behind like the next wave after Rebel Ahsoka. Someone talking about having Ahsoka release. I would love that. Give me 3 Ahsokas. We got Rebel, we got Young Republic, and we got like Clone Wars last season Republic, you know, when she's not really a Jedi, but she's helping fight him with Rex and the Force. I'd be fine with all that. It sounds great. Bad Batch, yeah. I mean, we need to see the Bad Batch in general in this game. That'd be great. I'm hoping they operate a lot like, kind of like the Inferno Squadron, where they have multiple names. You could bring 3 names in a unit or 4 or whatever the cap's gonna be, and the rest you can interchange. But you can put the rest as like unit leaders or extra units, kind of like Echo and Fives. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that I think the GAR kind of do that already, and that really works out well for them. So that would be fun.
Yes. Grievous did get a small kind of indirect buff. A block still works in melee. Unfortunately, block doesn't deflect wounds back in range, but in melee, which gives a Grievous a little buff against other saber users, which he probably could use because I
don't know. He was pretty good against saber users with his Jedi Hunter and all that goodness. David,
you said GAR Ahsoka confirmed, droid HMP confirmed, clone paratroops confirmed. Where are these things confirmed?
No, I've not heard any of this.
I have not heard any of this. And if this is true, I love you already, David Baker. But
where are you confirming this witchcraft?
Are you just saying confirmed? Does anyone know if this was actually confirmed? I didn't watch that stream today, so sometimes they just say stuff on there, which is usually why I watch their streams. But I feel like this would have been all over if it was confirmed. Yeah. So I don't know.
Rebel Mace Windu, where he's blind, has no hands, and he's a little bit lightning toasted. Is that what you want, Alex?
Do I think they'll do a Rebels? Oh, I see what you're saying, from like the show Rebels or the show Mando. I think it's going to be more the show Rebels, but Mando season 2 is kind of out as well. But I think based off of that like sculpt we got, it looked like the Rebels, didn't it?
Yeah.
They showed like the resin sculpt a while back.
Yeah, that was definitely Rebel Ahsoka.
Yeah, we need a lot more Republic. We need Mace. We need Kit. We need a lot more Republic.
Ayla, she already drives a tank. Give her a model.
You already saw it, like in the Shatterpoint launch. We have Luminar and Bara Sophie. There you go, Commander with her Padawan in this game. Bring her in. We already have some in there that we don't have in here, showing up in their first wave. So I think we'll see more. I think they're finally at a point. AMG is where they're going to start getting these out quicker now that they have a bigger team. The Boba was theirs. Dark Troopers getting were theirs. So I think we're finally into the AMG made stuff, not the AMG pulling it to the finished stuff. So
yeah. Yeah, Fulcrum Ahsoka. So Rebel is Ahsoka.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dan. Which is perfect. That's one of my favorite Rebels. Our favorite Ahsoka was from there. She was great. Let's just hope she's really good so I can run her a lot against Dawn, because that'd be great. I want her to pair well with Sabine Mandos to really just round out Dawn's experience on the channel.
Dawn's list of things I hate to play against.
Funny enough, though, I'm pretty sure your Dark Troopers are going to be a really good counter to my Mandos, because besides like the one rocket, if I bring them, they don't really have much with impact or crits.
Yeah.
So, Plo Koon and the Wolf Pack, I mean, who wouldn't want that? That sounds great. I'll take that.
First Order action.
I don't know if we'll get that. I personally have no issue with getting that. I think it'd be cool. I just think it's the same thing with their issue in X-Wing, is they're going to have a very, very limited amount of units you could get.
Yeah, we didn't see a whole lot of First Order
Stormtroopers, Kylo,
and especially Resistance. You didn't see any sort of. I think the Resistance is smaller than even the Rebellion was, so it's.
Yep.
It would be hard to bring that into Legion.
9 sabers will be a thing. Jason, who's been in the Summer and Winter Cup on our channel, he always brings the 7 sabers. He's already going to make the 9 sabers and bring it. He said he doesn't care if it's good or bad. He will have it on the channel, so we'll see it for sure.
I mean, 9 sabers it's a lot of sabers, and that's 4 powerful Force users in one list.
1,000%. Rebels would need Ezra and Kanan. I'm hoping. I want both versions, but for the sake of it'd be fun to have more keywords, would be Kanan from season 1. With Padawan, young Ahsoka, or Ezra with his lightsaber gun, right? So he can switch between the two. It'd be a really fun mechanic. And Rebels and Empire do need more Force users, honestly, because they have 2, but it's the same unit, so they can only ever have 1.
Right.
So I think
I want some Grand Inquisitor action for the Empire. That'd be cool.
Yep. So, I mean, 7 sisters, 6, a 5th brother. There's a ton of them, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that Inquisitor generic pack will be kind of like Inferno again, where you have some of the named Inquisitors and you have some generic ones you can run.
Yeah, but Empire's good on goodies for a little while, so we can maybe let other armies have some more fun.
And they got IG-88, IG-11 getting in the Dark Troopers recently, right?
Yep.
And Din.
Yep.
So the only thing recently they didn't get was Boba.
That's it, which is nonsense. Hashtag where's my Boba?
I mean, that'd be great. I would love that, Holly Dragon, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, they want to sell more stuff.
And we'll get a different Rebel. We'll get a different clone version or different Republic version of Ahsoka down the line. I don't know, though. I could be wrong. What do I know? But that's my guess. The Inquisitors, yes, they probably would have Jedi Hunter. That would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any other burning questions you guys have tonight? Anything else about the rules we didn't comment on? We will have. Here, do you want me to pull up your screen, Don, so you can show what you're looking at?
I was going to say, I just pulled up the Ahsoka image. So that's the Ahsoka that they revealed during the mini extravaganza.
Yeah, it's the reason the lightsabers all bent. That's just a resin print. It's not the true sculpt. Just like Asajj's sculpt is much better than that one they're showing, but it gives you an idea of what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big thing if you came in the game from a while, is that FFG would give you bites of everything as they went, whereas AMG tends to show you everything at their mini extravaganza for the next 6 to 8 months, and then it's just little reveals here and there, but nothing crazy new. So I think just getting used to that. Like, I love the mini extravaganzas when they happen, but then 3-4 months out, you're like, what else is coming?
Give me more things.
Thanks, Kenneth, for joining us. Have a good night. Yeah, we'll try to do more of these for you guys too, even when I'm home and not on work trips. It's fun to hop on, just chat with you guys. If you guys like this, let us know. We'll try to do more in the future.
Yeah.
It's an easy way when we can't get together to film. If he's at his house and I'm at my house, we can hop on for an hour. Filming does not. So you might watch the video and you're like, oh, it's an hour long. That's not too bad at all. It's easy to watch. It takes much longer than an hour to film and edit.
We started at 8:30 and on mostly on Tuesdays, and I get home at like 12:30 to 1:30.
12:30 is early for you. It's like more 1:30 most of the time. He lives very close, so
yeah.
How do I feel about the terrain adjustments? I think we talked about that earlier, Rocket. I think it's fine overall. I think it's more of a mindset shift that us experienced players have to get used to how it works now. I think new players coming in, it will make much more sense in the current way. I think it's very important for you and your opponent to talk about what's impassable, what's open, label your terrain, talk about it like you're supposed to anyways, if it provides heavier, things like that. I think you should still have the conversation, but I think it's good. I think personally, the best rule I like that came out of this was the climb rule.
Yeah.
I think that if I have to give you guys one thing I like the best, I like climb because it was always hard for us to bring the Tatooine map. So we didn't see it much because unless we both knew and we both built things with jump or scale or something, it was hard to bring it because they had a clear advantage over people who were on the ground. Versus like the Legion train map, which has those walkways. Yeah, jump people have an advantage, but it's like 4 or 5 trees with a couple interactions. Everything else is completely open, so you can still shoot through. Unlike the Tatooine, which is very blocked off streets. It looks awesome. Yeah, Traveler. Hopefully it picks back up for you. It's in a very good state in our local meta over here. We've got a lot of good players. Shout out to Josh and John and Dan and Bob and Mike, Jarrett, all of our local guys. Tim, other Tim. We got a few in the store.
We have a couple Tims.
Yeah, if I missed your name, I'm sorry. But yeah, we got a good batch of players. You saw all of our local players, not all, you saw a lot of our local players live on our Summer Cup. We'll be doing a Spring Cup. So if you guys like the tournament series, when we get a little warmer here in the Chicagoland area in spring, we'll kick off another one. Keep that process going. Seems to be fun. You guys seem to like that one.
Yep.
There's one unit you could add to your favorite. Let's see what we got here. If there was one unit you could add to your favorite, what would it be? First one, favorite faction. If there's one, okay. If there's one unit added to my favorite faction, that's your next question. Okay. If there's one unit you could add to your favorite faction, who would it be? I hate to say it right now, it's probably going to be Ahsoka on the clone side. And if I had to pick, it'd be like Clone Wars last season Ahsoka, where she's really just top of her game. Would be probably the one I'd pick, either that or Gungans, just in general. What about you, Don?
I don't know. I really want to see the Grand Inquisitor / Inquisitors for the Empire. I think that'd be a lot of fun. They need another saber.
Yeah. There, we answered this one earlier, but real quick, they lost a little bit of mobility from it, but I don't think it hurts them that much. They can still move up like everyone else, and they can go to speed 2, and they can still move over difficult terrain and stuff without slowing down. So it does help with you can keep your armor and still move up a building at the same speed without flipping your battle shield if you're going to take that. So that's a plus.
Cup half full, man.
No snips. I do love snips. I like any form of Ahsoka. I have met Ashley. She's really nice. But yeah, more and more Ahsoka is always good.
Yeah, no giveaways, Paul, for the live streams. So no keywords here.
I'll give everyone an extra giveaway if we talk about how Don should wear his salt tiara soon. I think that will give everyone some extra entries in the next video.
As long as it's the manliest tiara we can
make
salt.
It's going to be like the Himalayan pink salt,
Ooh. Maybe purple? Can we make it purple salt?
No, you like that too much.
Well, what the hell? I'm supposed to wear it all
the
the
time. We
time.
can make the crown purple. How about that?
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, if you guys have any other questions before we go, let us know. We'll stay on for a couple more minutes. But I think that's all the major rules updates we wanted to hop on and just kind of talk about with you guys. Gideon Dark Troopers are coming. I would say if you guys are going to tournaments like Adepticon or something after that, when they launch, practice playing them, proxy them.
Yes.
Is the crown actually salt? Actually, no. Funny enough, John, who was the winner of our Summer Cup, made that. It's like a snow flock almost. It's like a miniature snow flock that's on there, glued on there, so it looks like salt.
So it gets everywhere.
You need a shirt design with the salt tiara. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That'd be great.
Maybe that'll be the next wave of shirts for our merch.
We do have shirts. If you guys are interested in shirts, let us know. We can send you one. They're $25 with free shipping or $20 with $5 shipping, whatever you prefer to look at it.
In the US.
Just
internationally.
Yeah. Internationally, I'll price out exactly what it costs and charge you. Just message us if you're interested. We do have shirts. How do I feel about the Padme?
Padme's still fine.
We talked about the cliff note was she's fine. She lost a little bit from the standby, but she is the cheapest unit who can share tokens every single round up to range 2 there is. Anakin's very expensive, for example, compared to her, and Yoda can only do it on his command card, and he's much, much more expensive than her. So I think she's still fine. Ooh, I like this one. Let's talk about this one for a second. Affiliation is most excited to play in MCP. I've already played a couple times, but Web Warriors is my jam. I'm a big Spider-Man fan, so I really like them. But probably beyond that, X-Men. Just uncanny.
Oddly enough, I'm Avengers. I really like the good guys in the comics. So
Which is funny because you're all
I
about
play
the
bad guys in every game I play.
bad guys, and then people are
And
gonna like the rebels. Whatever.
yeah.
But yeah,
Although I also do like the Spider Foes. I'm a big fan of the Venom and the Hobgoblin and
I
all
have
that
a
stuff.
a decent amount, so we have a good amount of factions. It's just like I said, if you guys want them painted, it'll be a little longer. If you guys don't care if they're painted before videos drop, let us know. Comment below if you want to see MCB videos sooner. You don't care if they're all painted. I do have like 10 minis painted right now, and then we have our partner at ASR Miniatures working on more painting.
Yeah. He painted up the Hulkbuster, and I think we shared that picture in the
Oh,
Discord.
looks good. Looks
The
great.
Hulkbuster looks fantastic. So
Typical
super
Padme
excited to
line.
see all the stuff he paints for us.
Yes, I think it depends. I actually think, Dan, I think it's either quick thinking and aim or it's quick thinking and dodge, right? If you're not going to move her up or do anything with her. If you want a more offensive round, double aim is always good with single dodge. But if you need that more defensive round, the double dodge, single aim is probably a good option too.
Yeah.
You can also have people portable scan her or true binoculars her to get more tokens. Avengers. Hulk is my boy. Yeah, he's played Hulk.
Hulk was fun. When in one of our test games that we played recently, I threw some. Hulk did work. Hulk smashed Gamora. Hulk smashed a lot of things in that game before he went down.
Let us know if you care about painting miniatures. Otherwise, we'll have the videos up earlier. We hope you guys enjoy the MCP videos. We are not experts in the rules by any means. We're still learning. So if we get things wrong, let us know. Yeah. Otherwise, you guys have a great video coming this Sunday with Obi-Wan and a whole bunch of clones versus Dooku and a whole bunch of droids with the new rules. You're going to see things like climb. We don't use the pass mechanic. I'll spoil that a little bit.
We didn't come up. I think there was one opportunity that you could have done it, but didn't actually.
Other than that, there's a good amount of the new rules in that one. So check it out. With that said, I thank you guys for coming. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys want to see more of this, let us know.
Yeah, if you're in the Discord, let us know or anything like that. And thanks for watching. I think we had like 41 people at one time, so we're so popular.
Yeah, it's a good first one. We'll try to do more of these. You guys have a great night.
Bye, guys.